In my relatively short life, I've had the privilege to drive quite a number of cars, most of them being Japanese, and none of them quite stand out in my mind so much as this. It is, of course, a Suzuki Jimny, and is very possibly one of the worst Japanese cars ever made. Let me walk you through it. First up, it has a face that only a mother could love. Looking at the engine, it's a 1.3 litre 4-cylinder unit, producing only about 80 horsepower. Now, this is possibly one of the weakest and most useless power plants I've ever used. It's just purely gutless. Now, it's kind of weird because it comes from Suzuki, who are the same people that make the Suzuki Hayabusa, which is a 1.3 litre 4-cylinder engine that has 3 times the horsepower and is lighter. Okay, now to move on to the interior, it is, to put it simply, awful. Like, all the plastics are just so cheap and nasty. Everything feels so cheap. Like, I know it's a cheap car, but really, did you have to go this low rent? Even the stuff is laid out poorly. But none of this even compares to how it drives. So now I'm going to introduce you to the death trap monstrosity that is the Suzuki Jimny. You know, it doesn't feel that unsafe as long as you don't do anything. You just keep going nice and straight below 40, you're all right. But the second you try to turn a corner or anything, the body roll is just cataclysmic. Just whenever you do like a slalom at a roundabout, it feels like you're going to roll over and die. Now I want to take a moment to talk about this gearbox. Now, the gearbox in this car is without a doubt the worst ever made. There's no question. If you've driven one, you should know. If you don't know, it means you don't know cars. Just to do a little bit of a demonstration, if you look at the play in this, that's in gear. That's ridiculous. That's more movement than there is in the entirety of travel in an 86's gearbox. The pedal feel is pretty terrible. The driving position is not great. The handling is not great. The grip level is poor. The steering feel isn't awful, but it's not good. And it's not just the big things they've gotten wrong either. Pretty much every little thing that you can get wrong is wrong too. The windows are pretty much the slowest of any car ever made. The floor mats have no little tie down, so they just move around whenever you use it. So over a few weeks, your floor mat will rotate and jam your clutch pedal. Like, who doesn't think of these things when they're designing a car? It's basic stuff, people. This transmission is just like the worst thing that has ever happened to the world. There has been nothing worse, ever. It's seriously next to impossible to find a gear. You want to heel and toe down to second? Good luck, because you will not find it. You'll miss a gear and you'll hit fourth. It's just stupid. Aha! See, the problem is that even for a four-wheel drive, it's not good at speed bumps because you've got the wheelbase is so short that the back just kicks severely. You can't go over speed bumps at sort of 70, 80 like you can in, say, a RAV4. You'll break your spine or you'll break the back of your car. It's just a serious problem. And the problem is that the front springing is such that you can't get air off them either. Not that that's a problem for the average person, but you know, if you want it. Now the problems don't end on-road either. Off-road's got a host of them. Open diffs all round means that it just spins up wheels regardless. But it's got no power either. You can't slide it like you would, say, a Hilux. Think of a Hilux is better in almost every way. And it's also cheaper too if you get a second-hand one. Like, the mind does boggle as to who buys these cars. Like, I've got nothing. You've always got to wonder, because Suzuki makes such good bikes, and they even make a few good cars too, like the Swift is a pretty nice car, like the Vitara is also not a bad light four-wheel drive, but this is just an abomination. Like the old Suzuki Sierra, the one before this, that was an excellent car, that was just hilariously fun. This is just bad. Like it doesn't even have character adding flaws. Like it's gone so far above the addition of character that it's just purely terrible. Like I have almost nothing nice to say about this car apart from it's kind of fun that it's so narrow. And if that's all you can say about a car, that's not good. As such, it receives my title of the worst modern Japanese car. Of course, everyone's opinion is different, so if you don't feel the same way, leave a comment. But please make sure you try the car before you say something stupid. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time.